Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Hope everyone is having a great day. If you are on this webinar live in July the 10th, then you are probably not enjoying summer as much as you probably would like. You're not on vacation or at the lake or the beach, but you are living your best work life because you're with us today, this power hour featuring alarm.com. So we're going to let people come in really quickly. People are still funneling in. Star-studded attendance today. Some of our best names I'm seeing come in. It's good to see everyone. Okay, so like I said, I'm Jackie Townley with CMS. Thank you again for joining us today. And it is Wednesday, July the 10th. I cannot believe that. It's wild how fast time is going already. And we have Philip with CMS and of course Olivia on our side. And today we have Maddie and Caleb and Kristen from alarm.com joining us. And we're going to be talking about RVM or remote video monitoring. And we are super excited about talking about this subject because it has been a hot topic for us and a big push for us here at CMS. So we're really excited to partner with alarm.com with all things, especially about video. So without further ado, we want to get started with Maddie. And please, again, as always, please refer to the Q&A feature with regards to any questions you have. We'll be monitoring those throughout the session, and Kristen will be answering those live. So please pop those in there, and we will just go ahead and start taking it away.
Awesome. Thanks, Jackie. Thanks for having us. We're excited to be with you all today to talk about RVMC. My name is Maddie. I'm on our strategic sales team here at alarm.com, working closely with CMS and all of our alarm.com dealers to launch RVM out to your customers. So really excited today, joined here with Caleb.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, Caleb Seymour, the technical solutions specialist here at alarm.com. A little background on myself. I started in the field as a frontline operator in the monitoring station, went over to doing installs, installation, service technician role, working in a service department, then going to inside sales, outside sales, residential, small business. So, jack of all trades, master of none on the end user side, and joined the dream team here at alarm.com 2 years ago, and I work very closely with CMS, and it's my honor to be here with y'all today.
And we're also joined by special guest Kristen. Kristen, you want to give a quick intro?
Well, I thought I was just here to be a pretty face. I didn't know. But for those that don't know, Kristen Abear, I am the account executive for the Sunbelt region, which represents Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. So thanks everyone for joining. We appreciate it and look forward to showing you some good stuff.
Excited to get into it. Kristen will be helping us out with the Q&A box too. So please, if you have any questions that come up throughout the webinar, send questions, comments into the Q&A box, and we'll make sure to answer them for you. And without further ado, we'll go ahead and get right into it. So, remote video monitoring console. When we think of the history of video monitoring with alarm.com cameras, we think of reactive video monitoring. So an alarm event goes off, CMS operators are able to remote into the cameras on site to either verify that that is in fact an alarm that's going to require action like dispatch, or on the other side to determine that that was indeed a false alarm and to prevent dispatch. With RVMC, we are now getting proactive. So we're able to escalate those non-alarm video analytic events to CMS for review by operators so that operators can identify suspicious activity before crime and expedite the dispatch as needed. So we're really saving time here. And this feature is available on both video-only accounts, as well as it can be tied into accounts that include intrusion. So when we look at visual verification and RVMC in terms of the order of events here, with visual verification, we have that alarm event that's triggered. The analytic clip detects that a person's on site. CMS operator can tap into the live video feed, see what's going on, and then use resources like two-way talk down, warning sounds, or ultimately emergency dispatch if necessary. With RVMC, no alarm event needs to be triggered. So the alarm.com camera will pick up an analytic clip, likely of a person or a vehicle on site. The CMS operator will be able to view that clip, tap into the live view video, use resources like two-way talk down and warning sounds to deter the unwanted visitors, and ultimately, if necessary, do expedited dispatch, all before the alarm event even goes off. So adding remote video monitoring services to a customer account is a way for you all as alarm.com dealers to increase RMR as well as increase, greater average revenue per user. It's a way to ensure that their experience with their whole security system is extremely unified. Everything is in one place, not only for them, but also for you all in terms of camera rule configuration. And then lastly, it's a differentiated offering. This enables you to provide a unique service to your customers, whether it be standalone with video only or tied into an alarm.com intrusion system. So once again, the bread and butter of alarm.com is keeping everything in one place through the alarm.com mobile app. Now, how are folks actually leveraging RVMC in the real world? So previously, we're only able to monitor inside the four walls of our home or business, but now we're really thinking outside the box. So as it relates to new construction, for example, we're now able to protect those valuable assets that are stored outside. We no longer have to rely on our employees to secure that equipment and those resources at the end of the workday. We can ensure that we have eyes on that property at all times. Exterior valuables can translate as well to outdoor equipment. And in the case of commercial or retail, we're now able to deter unwanted visitors or loiterers from a location, use resources like two-way talk down or manually triggered warning sounds to ensure that those individuals do not hang around. And therefore, we're increasing the safety and comfortability of not only the employees of the location, but also any visitors. Kristen's going to hop in and share some real world examples that he's seen from folks in the field.
Yeah, we have some cool ones. Also, kind of block out of your mind if you're a smaller company and think, hey, this may not be something for me. I have a one person operation dealer that has actually 3 of these accounts online already, very productive thus far. And one of the most unique ones is a parking lot at a like a landscaping company. So at night they have these gas pumps that people were coming in and stealing gas from, but also breaking in and checking handles and breaking in the vehicles. So he put this in, watching the gas pumps, watching the perimeter. Even though it's a gated facility, people still get through, right? They'll come over. So don't always think, conventional methods, because you may pass by that landscaping company 10 times today and not realize that that could be something that you could use remote video monitoring console for. So that's just one example. We have schools that are doing this now. So there's a lot of different things that we can do, at the point of attack from video without any other devices, including an alarm panel necessary for those implementations.
Awesome. Thanks, Kristen. So when we think of remote video monitoring console, we think of this somewhat as an umbrella. So the main, resource and feature here is being able to send those non-alarm video analytic clips through to CMS for operator handling. Once that clip comes through, we have several resources that CMS operators have access to help aid the situation. So one of them is two-way talk down. I'm sure most of y'all are familiar with two-way talk down already, but this ensures that operators can access compatible cameras speaker feature from the live view to perform talk down, letting the intruder know that they are in fact on camera, that emergency services are in fact being dispatched, and asking that they leave. We also have our manually triggered warning sounds feature. So this is available to you all, referred to as perimeter guard when set up as a video rule. We're able to use the LED light and speaker on the camera to sound. This is now a feature that's also available for operators to take advantage of. They can now perform these manually triggered warning sounds as well when they observe unwanted visitors in the area of interest. We have a couple of aspects of our reporting that we'd also like to highlight here. So Caleb, will have you hop on and walk through these briefly, please.
Yeah, so zone sync. Zone sync is going to make it to where your zone list for intrusion. Think of panel security panel zones 1 through 8 that you have to enter, the description of each device location. So it appearing there in Mastermind, appearing in the customer account, appearing in the panel. Whenever that information is entered, it syncs instantly across the board, all platforms, whenever changes are made. Well, now this is available for non-intrusion devices. This is not currently yet available. We are testing it, working very closely with CMS to offer that. So these cameras, if a camera is moved from one parking lot to another, it will update automatically once they recognize those changes in the dealer portal. So once that's updated, you can see it labeled correctly on the customer account and across the board. More to come on non-intrusion zone sync. Go ahead, Maddie.
Thanks, Caleb.
Yep, and Maddie, just real quick, we have
Yeah.
two questions that I've already answered a couple, but these two are pretty good. So Brian is asking, can we have a pre-recorded message in place that the operator would just click a button to play through the camera? Brian, not at this time. There are some things that we are doing behind the scenes and testing right now that will meet that need, just not today. And then GAM asked if OnVIF with other manufacturers' cameras are capable, and the answer there is also no, not yet, but that is coming down the line. So sorry, I figured it was a good stopping point with those two questions popping in.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks.
Yep.
So I'm sure you're wondering, what do we need here to use the remote video monitoring console? So I want to take a second to walk through at high level our current video camera lineup. So these are all of our cameras that are going to support RVM, as well as our Floodlight 729 camera that we'll show on a later slide here once it GAs. But right now, any of these analytic supporting cameras are going to be compatible with the remote video monitoring console. Important to keep in mind that if you are especially interested in that two-way talk down or manually triggered warning sounds feature, we're going to want to keep an eye on these three cameras with the green speaker icon, as these are our cameras that will support the two-way audio. So we have the 523X, the 724X, and the 727P camera here that are going to support two-way audio for talk down and manually triggered warning sounds. If anyone has any specific questions on these cameras, feel free to let us know. Happy to answer those. But we'll keep on going here to address our service packages. So at high level, any analytic supporting service package is going to be able to have RVM added to it. So on our residential side, that will be Premium Video and Pro Video with Analytics 3000. On the commercial side, any of our commercial video packages. Again, as a reminder, the number in that commercial package name indicates the number of cameras supported by that package. The only additional change you'll have to make on the service package for a customer who wants RVM is adding that RVM add-on. If you are an existing Alarm.com service provider, you can find the add-on information in the partner portal under customers, then service packages. And if you are not yet an Alarm.com service provider, we're happy to chat with you about our service packages and what that process looks like. So how do these rules actually get set up here? What does configuration on y'all's end look like? Now, we wanted the setup of these recording rules to be as simple as possible. So essentially, the creation of an RVMC rule looks exactly the same as the creation of any other Alarm.com video analytic rule, except we do have to check a small box to indicate that we are forwarding that rule over to CMS. So we're going to go to the video section of the customer website here, create a new video recording rule, and then you will see that monitoring station notifications checkbox here that we will need to select. Now, it's important to keep in mind that these rules are service provider locked. That means once that rule is saved, customers can see them, they can turn them on or off, but they cannot edit the contents of the rule. So we have these rules service provider locked for a couple reasons. We want RVM to operate, as successfully as possible for the end user. We do not want our service providers to be overwhelmed by situations where customers have accidentally changed those rules and they need to be reverted, as well as we want to ensure we're not having a very high influx of clips sent over to CMS that aren't actually in areas of interest. And we know that you all, as the Alarm.com service providers, are the experts here on how to set up a successful video recording rule. So those rules are service provider locked. We are going to provide some guidance a little further on here in this presentation on how to set up a rule in the most efficient way possible. One more thing customers will have to do here is go to their settings page, click into monitoring station, and then select which cameras they would like to be forwarded over to CMS within the remote video monitoring console. So again, customer has full visibility into exactly what CMS operators will be able to see and when they'll be able to see it. All of this configured through the customer account. High-level overview here as well of what the screens will look like from the customer perspective. So on the left-hand side here, you can see that the customer is able to toggle that rule on or off, but they are not able to actually edit the contents of that rule. Now, it's important to note as well that the end user does have an agreement that they will agree to in the customer app. So very important to remind them that they'll need to sign that agreement before the clips are able to be forwarded over to CMS. So something for y'all to keep in mind to emphasize with your customers when you're configuring your first RVM account. I will pass the mic over to Caleb.
All right. Thank you, Maddie. So yeah, proper configurations are important, whenever you're setting up these accounts from the dealer portal, but just as important out in the field. Whenever your technicians are in the field, establishing these analytic ground zones that report over to the monitoring station, specifically CMS, the camera's height, the angle that it's at, where overspill passes, these are all factors that can affect two people that we have the best interest of. That is the operator. We do not want the operator handling obscure signals. We want them to only handle and focus on actual alarms. So proper installation practices are very important. Maddie can go into more detail with this, but we do have an academy online that takes you through scenario-based training and the proper way to establish this. More about overspill, you have an area of interest, a ground zone, a tripwire, the same one that's been configured for many years now for a customer to go in and, in a sense, self-monitor. Well, now that monitoring station's a recipient, you want to make sure that yard ornaments, vehicles passing, if it's an unsecured area and there's people walking on sidewalks, those are all considerations that you need to take in because this cannot be edited by the customer. It would include the dealer. And you'll see more of that here in a bit when I go through my live configurations. Thank you, Maddie.
Awesome. Thanks, Caleb. So there are plenty of remote video monitoring, proactive video solutions on the market. We want to touch briefly on why alarm.com for video monitoring. So, with RVMC, again, all that's needed here equipment-wise is an alarm.com camera. No bridge, no hub, no wired solution is required. This can be a standalone video experience. It's also a quick and easy installation. No advanced IT involvement is necessary. I'm sure you all know better than I do that alarm.com video installation is easy and straightforward. Not to mention a one-app experience creates a stickier, higher value customer. We see on average that customers with video log in around 3 times more than customers with just intrusion on their account. So really, emphasizing the importance here of how video can affect customer lifetime value significantly. And then lastly, while we do have the convenience of being able to use RVMC on standalone video, we also have the ability to operate RVMC based on panel arming status. So in a commercial use case, for example, we can have those RVM rules forwarded over to CMS only when the system is armed. This is going to ensure that we are only sending those video recording rules when necessary, as opposed to when our employees are entering and leaving throughout the day. A huge emphasis of why alarm.com is also our innovative roadmap. A significant chunk of our research and development investments are in the video space. So here we have a picture of our 729 floodlight camera. This camera will fully support RVMC once it launches generally. We are also in the works of developing a compatible third-party horn, so tying this into the alarm.com product ecosystem as a way to amplify the volume of our camera's built-in speakers. We're also exploring translating our cellular access control technology to alarm.com video to be able to power an alarm.com camera by cellular. Someone asked in the chat about third-party camera support. Great question. You beat us to it. This is also on our innovative roadmap actively being worked on. Very excited for when this launches. Cancel Verify for RVMC is in the works as well, in addition to property action. So allowing operators to control Z-Wave devices like lights, let's say, when someone is in fact detected on site, the operator would be able to then turn on exterior or interior lights to ensure that individual knows that they are in fact on camera. So lots of exciting stuff happening. We're super excited about the future of alarm.com video, excited to keep you all in the loop of when these different advancements come to fruition here in the near future. And I'm going to pass it all over to Caleb, so I'll stop sharing my screen.
All right, 2 things I want to back up on real quick. Just to verify that non-intrusion zone sync is not currently available. That is something we're working closely. Philip, Ms. Rose, Peter, the CMS team, we're working closely with them on with testing before that would be available to the dealer base. And then a little earlier, laughed to myself, I said there's 2 people, two roles that we have the best interest in. I went into the operator, setting up these analytic zones, the height of the camera, all these factors so that the operator isn't flooded. But the second person is the user, the end user. They are only allotted X amount of clips per month. So it's important that these clips detect the area of interest, the intruder or whoever it's meant to, whoever we're intending for to have captured in that area of interest. So just wanted to back up on that. I had only mentioned the operator, wanted to also mention the customer and having their best interest too. So anyway, let's get into the live configuration piece. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you now, and you'll see my test operator portal, the same software that you use to establish these customer accounts and make changes and troubleshoot. All right, are we successfully seeing that right here? Great. Awesome. So there's not many steps involved whenever you're configuring this, whether it's going to be for a new account, before the technician goes out, does the installation, tests these person, vehicle, animal analytic clips that generate over to CMS operators. Or if you're a technician that goes in the field and you're doing this from the mobile tech app. So let's get right into it. The first step ultimately is going to your monitoring settings tab in a customer account. In this tab is where you have your receiver, you know, how it's going to communicate over to that CMS operator. We utilize a, right here, this is my test stages operator, virtual receiver, but they're going to assign you one whenever you request this to be added to your dealer portal, remote video monitoring, visual verification, any of the video integrations. But for remote video monitoring, you have to use a virtual receiver in order to pass these analytic clips over to that central station profile. So this is where you would go to configure that. Once it is established for a subset of customers, it becomes an option to select in the drop-down menu. So already have that configured right here. In this field, of course, your CS account number. So that's step one. Step two is going to be going to your service package. This is where you will select what's going to be available to the customer. Go ahead and change the service package. We have it set for commercial video. So if you're going to be utilizing two-way talk down, you have to have audio for non-doorbell cameras active on the service package, as well as camera two-way audio for monitoring response. And then you're going to select remote video monitoring. As you see, it's $250 per camera. So it's subject to how many devices are going to actually have these analytic rules applied to them. You may have more cameras at a customer's location that they can self-monitor, and only a subset of them will actually report over and make CMS a factor. So remote video monitoring selected for however many cameras. I only have one on this test profile. And then selecting camera two-way audio for monitoring response so that your operator can interact with that individual that activates the ground zone, the trip wire, the area of interest, potentially verifying that they are authorized to be on site without having the operator have to go down the call list and make calls to all the key holders. So another benefit of having that feature incorporated with remote video monitoring. So now that we have that selected, as well as the remote video monitoring, as well as two-way talk down, later on down the roadmap, as Maddie highlighted, you'll have property actions where you can unlock doors, adjust thermostats, basically have your operator have more control over the location, offering more of a concierge service. So we're going to leave that out of the equation now because that is not currently offered by CMS. We're working closely to get that headed in the right direction. But so we have everything configured for the service package. We'll go ahead and save our changes. And that's step two. Step one, selecting the correct virtual receiver and having that configured so that it can pass the analytic clips. Step two, going to your service package. And then step three is having your customer agree to the applicable agreements. So visual verification, remote video monitoring, the audio agreement. That's when they log out if they're an existing customer and log back in, and then it's going to prompt them to accept these. That protects the dealer as well as the central station. The customer is signing off that that operator has access during alarms to those features, to the video on site, and only during those alarms. All right, so now we'll go into login as customer. Now this is a locked recording rule, as Maddie highlighted. A customer cannot go in and delete, edit these remote video monitoring analytic rules that are established by the dealer. Reason being, we do not want communication interrupted from that camera over to that operator. So it will be bottlenecked through the dealer whenever any changes need to be made. So as the in-house technician, I'm going to request to go in and make changes. We'll go ahead and select 45 minutes. It will not take nearly that much time. With the option to make changes and view live video temporarily. You will not be able to see any existing clips that were generated into that customer account. This is only access to live view to temporarily make these adjustments. Okay, so at that point, it sends an email over or push notification and email over to the customer for them to either give you access or deny you access into their account temporarily. Let me go ahead and get that pulled up. So you'll see this is now me swapping over to the role of the customer. I'm going to allow this technician into the account and grant them access. All right. Okay. So now that it's been approved, I'm swapping back over to the in-house technician or field technician's perspective, and I'm going to log into their website, basically backdoor into their customer account. Bear with me. All right. So now we are in the customer's account. We're going to go down to video. We're going to select recording rule. And we're going to add a new rule. Basically the same layout, that the same course of actions you take whenever a customer goes in and does this themselves. But now, being that this monitoring station is an option to receive these analytic clips in parallel, simultaneously with the monitoring station, you have to request access. So we're going to go ahead and select the camera, identify that we want to do a ground zone. It's an outdoor camera. And we're going to name this RVM test. All right, so we'll go in and make the area of interest. There we go. We're going to go ahead and lock this rule. That's what does not allow the customer into the configurations for this rule. The area of interest, you can determine that for up to 120 seconds. I'm going to leave it at 0.5, and then the delay between clips. So if this is just strictly for vehicle detection on a commercial lot, you may want to consider having more minutes in between clips for when they generate into the monitoring station. Go ahead and leave that for 30 seconds. So these are the options. This is what separates us from the competition. We can go in and utilize the panel arm state as a factor as to when these signals generate over to the monitoring station. So you have the option to have this rule run at all times. It's a restricted area. No one's ever supposed to be on site. So when it's detected, it sends over to the monitoring station. The next scenario may be for high-end residential or commercial that it sends during set periods of time. So if a business closes at 5 o'clock, you want these clips to now start sending signals over at 6 p.m. This is where you would configure that option. Your third option, if a panel is on the account, this is what I mean by this is what separates us from the competition. If a panel is present on the account, you can have these signals forward over based off of the panel's arm state. So instead of hoping that employees leave at 6 o'clock, whenever it's due to forward over, if the schedule is a factor, you can know that if it's armed stay or if it's armed away, there is no one that's at the location. So you could select that option and have it only forward based off of that rule. Other options that integrate are geofence. So if you have the plug-in device and you have a commercial fleet at a location, whenever that vehicle is in range in that geo bubble, that's when it would stop forwarding over to the monitoring station, as well as if you have it configured on authorized employees' phones. So just take that into consideration, that you can utilize other things to cut down, reduce on those false alarms. We actually recommend, if a panel is present on the account, to definitely utilize it, because once again, we do not want that operator penalized, flooded with false alarms. So great way to omit that scenario. You can use the camera's LED so that the person at the location knows they're being watched. Whenever they activate that area of interest, they'll get alerted. They'll see the camera's LED flash. You can also incorporate the camera's audio so that it gives you that chirp or that beep perimeter guard as well. And then select person, vehicle, or animal detection as to which signals, what needs to be activated in order to send over to CMS. And then the biggest piece right here, the biggest difference from what has been offered, is now being able to make CMS a recipient by clicking on this box here. In parallel with the customer or someone who lives at a location, if it's high-end residential or if it's authorized employees. Reason being is We want, until Cancel Verify is rolled out for remote video monitoring, which it's coming very soon, we want the homeowner or a manager at a location to be able to intercept false alarms and prompt a call into the monitoring station. So once again, that operator can get out of that false alarm and focus on handling actual alarms. So until that does roll out, another best practice is having the end user receive these clips simultaneously with the monitoring station. And then, of course, if Z-Wave is present on the account, being able to turn on lights once it's detected, another deterrence that works hand in hand with perimeter guard. But yeah, so that's just a general overview here of just the configuration. I do want to show you one more piece. Let me go ahead and save my settings. There it goes. Okay, so you see the little lock emblem. Just to give you a scenario, let me go ahead and get out now. Now I'm the technician backing out of the customer account. No longer need to be present in that. One more thing I do want to highlight too. Let me load this. Privacy zones. That's another great feature that you can utilize. So if you have this at a commercial property, high-end residential, you can utilize these privacy zones to where if the camera is at an angle that views neighboring properties, you could put that up so that it stays private, confidential for that neighbor. So just wanted to highlight that real quick. But let me back all the way out now as the tech. And then I'm going to go to the customer's perspective. Okay, installation's been complete, signals have been tested. Now the customer's logging into their account. They want to go, look around, and whether it's the app or here on my screen, get caught up to you. They go around and they're checking out, the cameras that have just been installed. They've set up a few rules. They go to video, rules for self-monitoring purposes. But they're looking down their list and they notice there's one that has this lock emblem by it. So they're like, I didn't set that up. It never dawned on them that this was established by the technician. So they go to delete the rule. And then boom, they get a banner that says you need to call your service provider to make any changes to this analytic rule. And it's because CMS is a factor. The only control that they have as the customer is going in, being able to pause and resume notifications. And once again, if this is a commercial property, they're working late at a location and there's no panel as a factor. And it's set up on a schedule, or it's a restricted area. They can go in and pause these notifications for X amount of time while they're having a holiday party, working late, whatever the case may be, and then it'll resume back after the selected amount of time. Because once again, we do not want those operators penalized due to improper practices or not educating the customer properly on how to utilize this. So that's really everything I have now on my end. At this point, we're going to let Maddie take it over and show you the operator's perspective. Unless, Kristen, was there anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, Caleb, I got a quick thing. If anyone's ever been to any of my training expos, you probably have already seen Jenny Cook and I talk about the operator and customer experience, right? So when you're naming rules, when you're naming cameras, those kind of things, consult with the customer, because it's the customer that's going to get that notification, right? The customer needs to be involved. So if they see RVM test as their name of their rule, do they know what that truly means? Always involve the customer. Also involve the customer when you're drawing out the ground zone. Get with them. What are you looking for? What are your anticipations of what this feature is going to do for you? Because what we set up as technicians is totally different than what the customer may want in the end anyway. So instead of having to continuously roll a truck to go see and, adjust something, either move the camera or adjust the analytic rule, you can get with the customer one time. And we know customers, aren't always, know what they want up front, but at least we get there and consult with them and get with them on those type of things. So Jenny hit me up and said, hey, can you talk about the customer side also? So I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention.
Awesome. Thanks, Kristen. We are going to go ahead and take a quick look at the operator experience here, like Caleb mentioned. So we'll play this quick screen recording video for y'all. Caleb, if you want to speak over this, you're welcome to walk through the step by step.
Very good. All right, so the alarm reports in. At this point, this is when we would go in and send test signals. Let me catch up to where we are. Okay, can you
I'm
back
gonna
it up
back
just
up
a
a
hit?
little.
There we go. All right, so everything we just did, this is the point where if I were to step outside, activate this ground zone that we just configured in real time, this is the point we start here. So you can go ahead and press play. That alarm generates over that virtual receiver that can handle those analytic clips to the operators the dispatcher screen. Typically, they have two screens that have their software. When they go to pull up the CS account history, they click a link and then it opens up this portal that you're looking at on their secondary screen so that they can assess video clips that were from 15 minutes before and 15 minutes after the most recent alarm with access for up to 24 hours. Yeah, this is a test at our training facility. They were filming a demo, but I think Maddie works with the individual.
Yes,
Very good.
our friend on the
Yeah.
marketing team.
Yep. So yeah, it reports in. They're able to view the footage, the clips, go to live view. If the customer has slower internet, Wi-Fi at their location, that's something that's beyond the control of the dealer, the central station, but the operators are trained up to go in and assess the live view until that clip reports in to that operator portal. So best practice doing that, being able to interact with two-way talk down. There's that button off in the right-hand corner that you're seeing that they can hold down and, state that they need to leave the premises. If they do not leave, they can activate, help me out here, Maddie.
Perimeter guard.
Perimeter guard, yes. They can activate the chirp to get their attention, and then that's when they can utilize two-way talk down to speak to that individual. If they don't leave, that's when they would resort to going and dispatching responding authorities. But overall, whether you are doing this for a standalone video or you're adding this to an account that has visual verification, I can't stress enough, we look at remote video monitoring. This is not a replacement to what's currently being offered by you to your customer base. This is an add-on. Visual verification, as you know, is reactive cameras, giving that operator insight into what's going on at the location so that they can assess and give that footage, those details over to the responding police or responding authorities so they know what they're showing up to. Being that involves the security intrusion panel as well as the cameras, you have one of the factors here for remote video monitoring. You have just the cameras that can be utilized to get the job done outside of the building, adding an additional revenue stream for your business. But in the same sense, the same way an entry exit zone is your first line of defense. And if they come through a window, that motion sensor would get them. That's how we look to incorporate remote video monitoring with intrusion monitoring. Get the job done outside of the location so they don't cross into that threshold to that physical building and activate that security system. Great enhancement to what you currently have in the field. Maddie, Kristen, anything y'all want to add? We can't stress enough, get ahead of the competition. It'll be a game changer.
Absolutely. Looks like we have a couple questions in the Q&A that we can address now as well. Kirk had a question about the third-party speaker that we are integrating with. It's going to be a phased approach with the third-party speaker. So ultimately, the plan will be to have it support multiple cameras in the area being learned into that one speaker. We don't have a timeline on that yet, but coming soon. What is the time frame for an operator to receive the clips? Question from Pat.
Generates pretty quickly, usually within 15 to 25 seconds. But like I said, that's for the clip. The operator will still have immediate access to the live view. And then they receive the thumbnail at the same exact time as the customer, being able to prioritize the clips that were generated in. So if Wi-Fi is a factor at a customer's location, like I said, that's beyond our control. That's whenever they would utilize the live view, assess these cameras appropriately until that clip generates into their operator portal.
Shane asked a question about pricing. We're going to have you reach out to your CMS rep to inquire about pricing. They're happy to chat with that one-on-one with you. And Kirk asked a question about integrating the FlexIO to trip a siren. So any sort of property action, automation, activation is going to be a feature that is coming soon. So that's still being tested. So again, we urge you to reach out to your CMS rep to discuss this sort of integration with property actions and share with them what you're hoping to accomplish and see if they're able to help you meet those needs.
All right. Was that everybody?
We have a couple other questions here. Kirk asked a couple more camera questions. Kristen or Caleb, you want to handle those?
Go ahead, Kristen.
Yeah, Kirk asked if you can add an output on an outdoor camera, that would be helpful to hook up to a relay or siren output, either triggered by operator or perimeter guard. We probably will not do that because we have property actions coming very soon. So we'll be able to trigger different things and we won't have to rely on the camera. So good thought, Kirk, but probably not because we're going to have that capability on a broader scale very soon. Next, if you have one 728 and a 727 on a pole and the 728 connects to the monitoring center, can they log into the 727 to let intruder know? The answer is yes, as long as you have that 727 turned on for the central station to interact with. So yes. All right, so let's see. To minimize the alert costs, are we able to provide an input that alarm.com can use to activate, deactivate the alarm monitoring when a site closes at night? This would be in lieu of setting the alarm. So Caleb, wouldn't you be able to do that with when that rule is active? You can put that rule on a schedule in the analytic rule setup?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so
Jacqueline,
Jacqueline,
the dealer, the dealer would have to
Yep.
establish that.
so the dealer, when you're setting up that analytic rule, you would put it in the right time frame that the customer wants. So again, going back to the point that Jenny and I beat home when we're together with dealers, get with the customer, find out all the details we can so we can build this thing the best way possible.
Yeah, it
And then
incorporates. Go ahead, Kristen.
No, go ahead.
I was going to just chime in. It incorporates the whole entire ecosystem. You know, property actions is coming a little further down the pipeline, but this now extends past police, fire, medical. You can offer a concierge service and get very creative, as you see with the chats, the questions we're getting asked with relays and whatnot. So go ahead.
All right, so Pat asked, and he had a previous question also, but about deleting the rule, and we already proved that you cannot, but he asked, so can the customer then turn the rule off? Maybe not delete it, but can they turn the rule off for any period of time or indefinitely?
Pause and resume notifications.
So only
They cannot.
pausing, and they can't disable. It's only pausing, and pausing will only allow them up to 8 hours, correct?
Correct. We could follow up. Let me verify that to make sure no changes have been made to that feature. But yes, I don't want to relay over anything I'm not 100% sure on. So let us follow up with you on that.
Okay. And then Kylie asked, can you do an in-app cancel through RVP response?
So that's that cancel verify that will come a little later on. They're very close to developing it. Probably the next one that'll be released here, the feature that'll be added to this remote video monitoring solution.
Yeah,
that's
and
why
someone had a similar question earlier, Caleb, about it, and I answered, once alarm.com comes out with that, then CMS is going to have to bring that integration in. So, you know, it may be a period of time, you know, before it happens, but once we release it, then CMS will have to adopt it also. And Kip, we'll take yours offline about the number of activations happening. So if you don't mind, we can handle that one offline.
Awesome.
Any other
Great
questions?
Thanks everyone for sending those in. Keep them coming if there's anything else you'd like us to cover. Do you want to just show that we have an email here at alarm.com, rvmc@alarm.com, that goes to a couple of individuals, including myself and Caleb. Easiest way to reach us with RVM questions. We're happy to loop in your appropriate sales rep as well as we receive those inquiries. On the left here, QR code showing our knowledge base article on RVMC. On the right here, you'll have a link to my calendar if you'd like to book some time with me to answer any questions about RVM. I'm happy to have your appropriate alarm.com account executive join based on your territory, and your local CMS rep join that call as well, so we can all discuss and answer any questions you may have. So thanks so much for joining us. Happy to be here with y'all today.
Thank you again. We really appreciate it. I think that was a great level of engagement, a lot of information provided. And again, anyone has any questions on the CMS side or monitoring or pricing, I know a lot of people have gotten some pricing from us. So please let us know. Please reach out to us, reach out to your key account managers, your BDRs. We're here to help you. We want to get accounts online with regards to your video accounts through alarm.com. So please let us help you through that process. Again, we have Philip. He's here to help as well. So let us know what we can do. And again, hit that QR code and work with alarm.com as you need. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, team.
Thanks, Jackie. Thanks, everyone.
All right, y'all have a great day. Take care.